Alright, I'm gonna do a VOD review for Bottle Dob playing Locus here during this fight. Go ahead and get started. First thing I noticed off the bat was you've got Magic Shock on instead of Bubble, which I assume you switched to try and stop some sort of siege ballista from channeling on our chariot. That's usually the most common use for it. Which I don't seem to see, at least when I first watched through this fight a second ago, I didn't see any siege ballista, so if there is no siege ballista, I personally wouldn't be running it unless you were specifically called by the caller to switch to it to like kill a tank with roll shoes or something is the only other really good use for it, especially on Locus where your main defensive is, or your main job is focusing on defending people, so the bubble to me seems way more useful. Um, But starting here, basically the gist of Locus, if you're new or for any of the people watching this, gist of Locus is basically like 101 is click E on the enemy's clump on us. So if they're attacking us and they're engaging on us, wherever the clump is that they're trying to generate, or the just sometimes the single target person they're trying to kill, your job is to get your E on that clump or person or couple people as fast as possible because Locus will mitigate a lot of their damage amplifiers like pierces and stuff. And it also, I think it gives resistances and some other stuff. It's a crazy defensive. It's really, 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 really strong. So the faster you get it on them to mitigate the damage, if you're faster than their damage, you can basically hard carry every fight if you're really good at Locust, to be honest. Um, Other thing is you have Cleanse. Cleanse is your W skill. It should be used mainly to either cleanse yourself before they're about to engage so that you can E. So if you get stunned and you can't E, which I'm not sure if you can actually E while you're stunned in Locus, I don't think you can. But if that's the case, you should be cleansing yourself so that you can E, or you should be cleansing, like during Brawl, you should be looking for the enemy's one-hand hammer because that's their longest CC duration stun, and you should be cleansing that. Looking for the most high value things that you can cleanse, but also you don't want to hold on to your cleanse like forever and never use it because that's how we end up saying we need a cleanse, and then everybody clicks W and we use 5 cleanses, and then the next CC that lands, we're dead. So kind of got to balance it out a little bit. And if you had your shield Q in between engages, you should be using your shield Q on people who are low, especially healers and especially healers. That's the main one, keeping your healers alive. And then I guess frontline tanks would come second, would be the ones that help the most getting those shield Qs on them to relieve pressure. So if you shield Q a tank, it gives them time to get beamed by a healer. You shield Q a healer, it helps them walk through wind walls, not get CC'd, gives them a little bit of time just to maybe jump out of the way or get one of their cooldowns up that they needed to get away. So the shield Qs, the people who play shield Q and they're really good at it make a huge difference in fights, especially in brawl versus brawl like this. Maybe not as much in like when you're fighting at kite comp because they kind of just blow the person up with a life curse on them, but for brawl versus brawl it makes a big difference. So the big thing, let's go through this fight. So big thing I would do when I play Locust is I watch their caller. So I watch their caller right here. Looks like we have them marked with a skull. That's a good thing. One thing you should do though is your skull is really tiny. First thing you should do is go up here to the top left of your screen. Click on this. There'll be a little drop down box. You want to go to the, I think it's like the close to the bottom, something that says party indicators big, and it'll have like a checkbox. You want to check mark that so that you make these like twice as large, especially for smacks. You want to make these huge so they're very easy to see during fights. Very, very important. Helps substantially because your job should be watching this guy because it's the enemy caller and the enemy clumper. So he'll be running around and then he'll be like, okay, I'm going to go over here. And he's going to sprint all of a sudden with his boots or blink or whatever. And then he's going to air compress a bunch of people and try and stun them on top of each other right here after he brings them all in. Your job is to be watching him at all times or watching whoever the clumper is. Sometimes they have multiple clumpers, sometimes they have bomb squads. You want to be looking for active threats that you need to locus. The moment he does that, you drop your locus right in the center of that and you locus all this, and basically it would be pretty hard for them to kill if you locus their clump. Especially in like even scale fights in Brawl versus Brawl. Like if you get a Locus on it and the other people in our Zerg are actually somewhat even playing the game, we should survive. What they'll try and do is out tempo your Locus or hope you miss, because really a Locus is a crazy defensive. Like maybe they'll serve the our guys will survive the clump, and then they'll be like 20% and get like executed after all the defensives wear out. Like that could happen if we're playing bad and we don't have anyone else supporting and no healers are doing their job. That wouldn't be your fault though. Your job is to mitigate them from getting blown up like 100-0 by like getting pierced 20 times and shrunk and blasted into oblivion. That's your job. If they die after the clump, probably not your fault. That's probably a healing issue, to be honest. Or if you have like other supports like enigmatic or something, they should be beaming that. But that's the gist. So as we go through this fight, I want you to keep that in mind. Locus is a very influential role. So he says spread and brawl. So you're doing good. You're just picking. I personally would go find. Whenever I play an arcane, I try and stick next to the healer. I think who is either getting pressured the most or who is our best healer. Like if I play Great Arcane or something, I keep Bimald at the top of my party list so I can select him with a hotkey, which is select party member 1. So if I see him get low, I immediately try and find where he's at, and I shield queue him. And then I keep Smacks in party slot 2 so I can shield queue him. That's kind of what you should be doing individual play right now, because Magic Shock's really doing nothing for you during this fight, to be honest. You wouldn't be... So we're spreading and brawling. So here, you've gotten really far away from their caller. You've kind of just gotten lost in the sauce a little bit. So he's saying look to the west. You don't necessarily need to look to the west if our guys are going to engage on the west. You're not like an offensive. I don't think you're an offensive support in this comp. Maybe if we have 2 Locuses and you're supposed to be playing offensive Locus, then I'm wrong, but I don't think that's the case. Usually we just have 1 Locus and it's defensive. So your job should just be maintaining your eyes on this guy. So when you walk off to the west here, you're going to kind of miss all the visual and spell indicators that are going to warn you that he's going to engage. So if you watch him right now, right there. So see this white, there's a white box right there, right here, that this guy, the skull, is casting, and you can see all of his DPS are focused on his clump about to hit. You need to be right here, casting your E right here. You need to be casting it right there. You need to be casting it the moment. You pretend basically like you're one of their DPS, and you gotta, the moment their caller goes in, you're going in on their call, and you're Eing their clump to negate it. You gotta be fast on this roll. You also have to have good positioning, because you don't want to be, for instance, you don't want to be in the clump while you're locusing it. Now, you could probably do it and you're in plate, you probably will be okay, but preferably you'll be like where Sprinky is standing right here, casting into the clump. That would be optimal positioning. And then, you could also throw out, sometimes you can throw out a cleanse and then E, or you can E and then cleanse if they try and stun the clump to hold it there for longer. But generally just Eing should be fine, especially while you're learning. Let's see. So this one, he kind of jumps up there. Our other D-tanks stop a little bit of their DPS, so that's good. But they all engage northeast, and you are very far away from the clump. So that by the time you got there, you couldn't even use your E. So you need to get there quicker and maintain positioning around the enemy shot caller, especially in a brawl versus brawl like this. So right now you should just be looking to cleanse big stuns. I guess if you're running that shock queue, you could be looking to pressure enemy healers is probably what I'd do. I'd maintain positioning near this guy. Well, technically you have like 20 seconds right now to do whatever you want, but I'd still maintain positioning by this guy, and I'd focus your queues on like a healer or this guy or someone who your brawlers are trying actively to kill, and throw a silence at him to help kill him. That would be the best use of your queue if you're going to run that queue. But right now you're kind of out of position again a little bit. That's better. You blinked into a better position here. This is a good position, right where you're at. Really good position. Good use of your shoes here, getting back. Also, I like the idea that you're using altitude here, since you guys are fighting down a hill. It gives you good vision getting up on this hill, so you can see the enemy shot caller and you can cast your E from range. That's pretty good. Let's see what you do here. Okay, this is fine. So this one, you kind of get sucked into it because, let's see. It's okay. Altitude kind of was confusing there. You get pulled into it. So here, if you had your cleanse, you should be immediately cleansing yourself, and then Judy armor, and then Locus yourself. So what I mean is, if you the moment this comes up, if you had it up, which you should, you should keep it for situations like this, because they one hand may stun you here. It's this little stun indicator. So all these people are stunned. You need to cleanse this to get everybody to be able to use their skills. Then immediately Judy armor, so you create a big bubble of resistances and protections, and then immediately E. So then you flood this entire area with so many resistances, their engage just can't kill anybody. That's your objective. Um, they kind of... So somebody else cleansed you, I think. I don't know how you got out of that stun so quick. Oh, somebody else tried to stun you again, so the DR came through and you got unstunned even like a couple seconds quicker. You guys probably would have been fine because their DPS were really late, but good use of your Judy, spamming the Judy. I like that. That was good panic Judy. Like, you should be spamming there. So here, since you have your cleanse and you know they just engaged, you can use your cleanse offensively here, and you'll probably have it within cooldown to use on their next engage. So you should be watching when you have this. Watch like our DPS on this cone following up on smacks, and if any of them get one hand hammered by like this guy, immediately cleanse it so our DPS go through faster. Sometimes I notice myself when I don't play Locus a lot, but I play GA. If I cleanse our backline to get in faster on a hit, we wipe them. Like, we literally, like, we get like 3 or 4 more damage through, which is what we needed, and we do way more damage because their D-tanks get mitigated. Only should probably be doing that when you know, like, they just engaged and you'll have your cleanse back up off cooldown, or if you're about to assassin hood, like, just throw out a cleanse and use it offensively. It's better to keep them defensively, though, if you're not going to get another one before they're engage. So here you should just be circling. This is what the shield Q is better for. So I'd cleanse this personally. I'd cleanse this. I was a one-hand hammer stuns are kind of just almost always worth cleansing, especially in a brawl. It's just good to get your guys unlocked and start pressuring, because usually pressure results in a lot of kills during fights like this. Let's see. You're kind of just waiting on your E. So again, your hit indicators, these indicator things are really you're gonna need to fix those for sure, because it's even hard for me watching this back, specifically looking for this guy to find him, but he's engaging again and you can't really see it because your indicators are small as fuck. So you should be Eing that. So see, they just carving pierced and a bunch of stuff. You gotta be Eing. You gotta be Eing. Even if you gotta tank it, yeah, there you go. A little slow, but that's okay. That you gotta fight your instincts of, like, if you're in the clump, either stalker shoe out immediately within frames and then turn back and E, or just eat. Like, you gotta do your job of locusing, because otherwise you're just a walking body around. Good use of your assassin hood here, resetting. So he says find a target and kill him. So you should be looking for the skull again. There he is, right next to Smacks. Here he comes to engage on whatever the fuck that was. One of your healers cleanse helmed that, so you don't need to cleanse it. They cleanse themselves. To be honest, that one's not even worth locusing. What I would do here, since they just engaged and it was horrific, I'd just throw out an E somewhere on some low people, like our low people, like here or something. I don't know, like, throw it out there. Just throw an E out and channel it, and throw your Judy down for these guys to get healed, because it's like the fight's almost over and they're losing pressure. Might as well use your E. It gives resistances, you know, your Judy gives resistances. Help those people do something, and then because your assassin hood's going to be up in 8 seconds and you can reset your locus anyway and it'll be off. It's about managing your cooldowns to match the enemy caller cooldowns. You always want to have your E, but if they just wasted an engage and you don't have to worry about them engaging, you might as well use your E for something if you can. Like, if there's literally nothing to use it on, probably don't, but if you think it might become some value to someone and you can throw it out for free, there's not much other as a locus that you're doing other than cleansing and looking for E's and throwing a Judy out. Like, that's your job. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you just throw out an E. Okay, that was good. I mean, you casted it on all full HP people, so that's not... Well, I mean, everyone was pretty much full, so not bad. That was exactly what I was talking about. I mean, at least you used it. But you should immediately, hopefully here, we'll see if you use your assassin hood to immediately reset. Let me get rid of this shit off the screen. to immediately reset your E. Or you should be assassin hooding right here to get up for their next engage. Good. It might have been a little late on your assassin. You should have been using it earlier. He might engage before you get E. No, he didn't. You're good. So you should be watching that skull guy. Locus it. Okay. A little slow. You could be faster if you keep your eyes on that skull guy. But that was your best, probably your best Locus yet. And then like here, this is where you should be using your shield Q. I don't know. I'm not going to keep ranting on it because clearly either you know that Q's bad or someone told you to switch to it or you were on it and just forgot to switch or something. That's probably what it was. Because most people know the shield Q's generally better unless you're using for specific. Because like when Domsky got to 10 HP there, that's where you Q him. You Q him up and shield him up to help with the anti-heal they have running on him. Drop your Locus here. Like every time you're about to hit your assassin hood, I just Judy armor. Just Judy armor in a spot that we're going to push through and then pop assassin hood. Like maximize your cooldowns. Like drop a Judy, yep, and then assassin hood. I don't... Okay, your assassin hood got interrupted. That's fine, they're running. Okay. Well, that's basically the gist of that fight. Basically managing cooldowns is the only thing I saw. Not running shield Q. Maybe not cleansing in certain scenarios. But also, just main thing, tracking collar, tracking the collar's cooldowns, and managing them between your cooldowns, and using your assassin hood for maximum efficiency. Those are probably the two. I'd say the biggest one is switching your icons and watching the collar, because you have the instinct to do it. I just think you're losing track of the collar, and you're like, I don't know where he's at, and then it's like all of a sudden there's an enemy engaged, and you're just too late by a little bit, because to play Locus super effectively, you kind of have to guess when the enemy's going to engage and be hyper ready with your finger on it, like hovering over the enemy engage, like just ready to click it. It should be so bad that you force them to fake engage to try and pull your Locus. That's how you know you're playing Locus correctly, is like when they call it out and they're like, that's their Locus, and they fake engage, or they do engage and they try and reset their cooldowns as fast as possible to engage when you don't have Locus. That's when you know you're playing Locus well. It's a very similar weapon to Tree Ant, whatever it's called, the root bound, I think is what it's called. That's this similar concept. You're cucking engages, and when Locust and root bound are up and you guys are both clicking E on the enemy engage, to be honest, they might as well not even try and engage. Like, they're gonna have to fake, or they're gonna have to do something else to like bait you or double engage or out cooldown you to get kills, because you're not killing through Tree and Locust unless you like have some crazy ass damage, or you have that plus outnumbered or something. But overall, I'd say pretty good. You know, you weren't standing in clumps. That was a big thing. Your positioning overall wasn't horrific, but I think you need to position based off of where the enemy collar is. I hope this helps. I didn't speak to your other two VODs in the channel about healing or the other Locus VOD, because the other Locus VOD you were just running down people the entire time, so there's not much to do as a Locus there. And then the healing VOD, I don't heal, so I won't speak to it. Only thing I will say on the healing VOD is it just kind of looked like you were holding onto your E for a long time. That's the only thing I know about healing, is like I feel like you should have maybe been using your E a little bit more, but I'm not going to speak to that because I literally almost never heal, but I do play support a lot. So hope this helps.